Support for Ripple Effects comes from the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, sponsor of the National Clearinghouse on Disability and Exchange, administered by Mobility International USA. To learn more, go to www.miusa.org. I'm Justin Harford, Project Coordinator with Mobility International USA, bringing you a second season of Ripple Effects, Travelers with Disabilities Abroad. This time, as part of our #AccessToUSA campaign, we bring you the stories of international students with disabilities studying in the United States. The goal is that more people will hear the stories and start to think about what is possible. You might be wondering what happened to Monica, the host from last season. Well, she is now the project manager of the National Clearinghouse on Disability and Exchange, and I am the new project coordinator. As a blind student, I did a Spanish immersion program in Mexico, followed by an academic year in Santiago, Chile, and found both experiences to be extremely empowering. That is why I am excited to bring the stories of other travelers with disabilities to you, the listeners. I hope their experiences resonate with you as much as they have with me. Well, enough of that. Let's get started. Sharif Rashid, who hails from Nigeria, decided that he wanted to study in the United States after learning about the resources made available by laws like the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. After finishing a master's degree in special education, he went on to work at a university disability resource center, where he provides reasonable accommodations like digitalized books, ASL interpreters, and extra time on tests, which enable students with disabilities to access educational and ultimately employment opportunities. Hey Sharif, thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us what you're working on right now?
I am working at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville as a disability specialist. I serve students with disabilities in the Office of Services for Students with Disabilities here. I do provide accommodations, academic accommodations to students with disabilities by making sure they have access to education, making the university more inclusive. I meet with students to decide on academic accommodations. That's what I'm currently doing.
Might be related to this. What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about education.
Education.
Because right from the beginning, I knew that there's nothing that I can use to better my life than education. I couldn't do sports. I couldn't do most of the things. Probably because of my disability. My focus was on education. I try to work hard to make sure I excel in everything I do, especially education. Everything I've achieved in life has been through education. I would say I'm very passionate about education because I look at it as the only thing I can use to change my life for the better.
Why don't you tell us about your disability?
Yeah, when I was about 2 years old, I had polio. I paralyzed, my leg, I couldn't walk, I stayed without, I couldn't walk like 3 blocks. I have limited mobility. When I was like 2, 3, 5 years old, I used crutches, to move around. Now, I sometimes use scooter if I need to go, if I need to go to somewhere that is very long, I use a scooter.
What was it like being a person with a disability in Nigeria, and how did that compare with the United States?
Yeah, I grew up in a culture that sees disabilities as abnormalities. Disability as something that needs to be corrected. They take a medical, model approach to disability, whereby the culture treats, individual with disabilities differently. And here is more of social model, whereby we look at disability as something. We look at the environment as creating obstacles to people with disabilities, not the individuals with disabilities themselves. That's the difference. Here, United States is more open, to people with disability. Everybody can talk about their disabilities. It's not more, it's not that secretive like, Nigeria. We're very secretive about it. We don't want to talk about it. But here, everybody can talk about it. It doesn't. It's not a big deal here.
How did your community react when you said you wanted to study in the United States?
Many people, I only told my siblings, my mom, and they were scared. How are you going to do that? You have disability. It's going to be difficult for you. It's going to be with you. And I said, okay, I can do it. I didn't know there were many supports here. I didn't know that. Not until when I got here, I saw there are different support. There are resources like the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. Every university in the U.S. has something for students with disabilities. I didn't know that. Not until when I got here that I know that there are different resources for people with disabilities.
Are you an international student with a disability who has studied or who is studying in the United States? Hashtag Access to USA needs you. Learn more about how you can join the hashtag Access to USA campaign. Tell us your story and share your insights at MobilityINTL on Twitter, Mobility International USA on Facebook, and www.miusa.org for our website. Were there any, sounds like you kind of told us this already, were there any individuals who helped you along the way? Your family? Anybody else?
Yeah, back home I would say my family. Here I would say my international student advisor.
Oh.
Her name is Kate Stosner. She was very supportive. She was very proud of me. She supported me.
That was
gave me some.
That was when you got to college in the United States?
When I got here, yep. Yeah. And I have friends as well, people from different parts of the world, from Kenya, from United States as well, friends. They're very supportive, probably because I have disability, because I couldn't drive. They would take me to places, take me to their family members, spend some time with them. And I really enjoyed it.
Did anything in particular really surprise you?
Yeah, before I came here, I heard that, Americans, they are very, very individualistic. People, you're on your home. But when I got here, I found out people are very friendly. Yeah, not, it's only here when you meet strangers on the road, they will smile to you. We don't we don't smile to strangers in Nigeria, but here, everybody, they smile. No matter how you dress, they will try to make you feel good. And the casual nature of American dressings as well, because when I was coming, I was buying ties, buying coats, buying suits that I'm going to be putting on ties. Not until when I got here, I saw that people are just putting on jeans,
Oh.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. That's very casual.
Yeah, very casual, yeah.
I remember you have a story about how you were surprised about how you would get accommodations in the United States. You had an interaction, I remember, with one of your professors.
Yeah.
Could you tell us that?
Yeah, before I came, what I thought was that, I told you that in Nigeria, if you have disability, if you want to go to somewhere, you need to look for someone, because the roads are not that accessible. There was my first class. I didn't know that I can get to the class. I was sending emails to my professor that how do I get to the class, because the class was scheduled to be, held outside the campus. The class was scheduled to be held at one elementary school. You need to move out of campus. I was, sending emails to my professor. My professor was saying, every, no matter where you want to go, you can get there. He didn't know, not until when he saw me that I was coming from other country. That was my first class. And he sat me down and he told me that no matter where you want to get to here in the United States, if you have your scooter, you can just move around because I didn't know. I haven't gone out before. That really surprised me. Since then, I know that if I want to go to somewhere, there's no point in calling for help. You can do it yourself.
And for the last question, could you share with us your ripple effect? That could be like an encouraging piece of advice, insight, or really any message that you would like people to take away from this interview.
My advice would be don't let your disability hold you back. If I can do it, you can do it as well, because my family was scared to death, knowing that I would be coming to the US. They were worried about the code. They were worried about the supports. I would say there are different supports. There are resources, in your, the campus you'll be staying. There are resources there. There are resources within the communities. Don't let your disabilities hold you back. That's what I would say.
Well, that concludes our interview, Sheriff. We really appreciate your time with us and hope that you keep in touch. I'm Justin Harford, and thank you for listening to Ripple Effects. Visit www.miusa.org to learn more about Mobility International USA and our mission to advance disability rights and leadership globally, and to share with us your ripple effect.